Chris.
Samantha.
Making good on our bet from last time.
Yeah, he fell a little short on the 20 questions.
Yep, and that's why he's no longer on this podcast.
What are you guys talking about? Hey, everybody.
Hey, Heath.
Now it's a show.
And what show is it?
It's Mobius Tubes.
Episode 109. We're recording on September 8th, 2024. How's everybody doing?
Swole.
Yeah, it's been a pleasant surprise.
Just like old times.
Having us at the same gym again, Heath.
You know, Chris, I was wondering why you didn't bring Samantha to join us on our weekly lifting sessions. But then it clicked for me. If she saw how much bigger I am in the gym than you when we're getting sweaty, they'd have to change it to gush.
I mean, have you seen how many plates he can put on for the leg press?
Oh, that's right. Heath did see my leg press.
Yeah, I heard.
Oh, that's dangerous. You should not do that many.
Yeah, his knees pop when he sits down.
I've been meaning to talk to you about that.
And you're also meaning to talk to Thomas about his body composition bulking plans?
God, I mean, I didn't want to dox him before he does a physique reveal. You know how people do face reveals? I feel like Thomas from the neck down is a new person.
It's true.
Although he should not be bulking as high as he's going to be bulking. For the uninitiated, Thomas is already Shane Gillis build for the people who know him. I asked him if he was 222. He's like, no, I'm 215. And I go, oh, you're done. You did it. And he's like, no, I'm going up to 240. And I was like, why? Thomas, if you're listening, you need to maintain. But he's going to be rotund.
240 seems a little excessive.
Yeah.
But I'm coming from it, from my perspective, at a measly 165.
Yeah, a strong breeze could push you over.
Push me over.
Yeah.
But not on my leg press. Those are like trunks.
Again, we should talk about that. We should do something different. Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, Samantha, what do you bench?
The bar, probably.
That's good. That's fine. That's good.
That's what I've heard every guy tell me, and it didn't feel good being surrounded by everyone else who is always stronger than me. So I appreciate the feedback, but I know I'm not very strong.
Your strengths lie elsewhere.
Thanks.
So, video games.
We play those.
God, I'm already hungry. Oh, no.
I can offer you some roasted unsalted peanuts.
I'm going to eat your roasted unsalted peanuts.
By the handful.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Samantha, once again, you've been the most prolific gamer at the table. Why don't you kick us off? What have you been playing?
I just don't waste all my time lifting weights to impress their girlfriend who already likes them. Silly.
You want me to be wasting away?
I think you could play as many games as I had if you just quit building your muscles.
I'll never quit.
You'll never quit. That being said, I've played 3 games. I'll talk about 2 of them. The first game I finished, Prey, the 2017 immersive sim, kind of a survival horror game as well. Certainly felt that way in the beginning because Prey starts off rather scary.
I thought the scare factor of Prey would be a bar too high for you to clear.
You underestimated me, I guess.
I have yet to clear it.
Right. It's no joke.
It's definitely pretty scary. You play as Morgan, who is part of the U family who run the TranStar Corporation, and the entire game takes place on a giant space station of the TranStar Corporations that has been overrun by aliens. And your task as Morgan is to essentially figure out what to do to stop the aliens and prevent them from going to Earth, because that would be really bad.
For business.
They'd run you out of town.
Yeah.
The standouts of this game, of course, are the progression system, which functions as you get these things called neuromods in the game, and they essentially function as unlocks for new powers and abilities. And as you move through the game, more powers and abilities will unlock as well. And
Big skill trees.
Huge skill trees. You'll get a lot of neuromods throughout the game, and there is no chance that you're going to explore every skill, which I think lends to the replayability of this game.
If you had to hazard a guess, what percentage of the skill trees were you able to tap into and unlock?
I would say like a third.
Yeah. It's been a while for me, but I remember them being like, I felt like I touched a minority of them.
I remember I had to like hard commit to a few skills. And then there were like some I dipped my toe in situationally.
What did you specialize in?
I specialize. Well, how much can I say without giving too much away?
You should go hard.
Go hard? Okay. I was an engineer, very hardcore in the beginning. They can repair objects and they have more inventory and they can upgrade your regular weapons.
Early game, I remember you were addicted to carrying turrets around everywhere.
Oh, of course. Who isn't? How else do you survive this game? The reason I went engineer, because I was like, aha, I can upgrade my turrets to be better, and then I will stop dying so quickly. What a gift. So that was great. That actually, I feel like it was a good decision because it lasted throughout the game as incredibly useful. And then later in the game, as you unlock alien skills, I got into the kinetic blast skill, which essentially just is a big explosion. There was some psycho shock damage, which is like kind of a similar functionally. You just like right click on an enemy and they do a lot of damage, but this is like mental damage. And then the most
damaging kind.
Yeah, it's like you send them to a therapist by the end of the day. And then the final one I kind of specialized in is I did a lot of electricity stuff just because they were my trickiest enemy to fight. Was always the stupid voltaic phantom because they would shock my weapons and they wouldn't be able to work anymore. So it was like, you can't shock me if I'm immune. And then it worked. It was great.
Already this sounds wildly different from my playthrough where I didn't touch a single alien skill.
What a mistake. The alien skills were a delight. I wish I could have explored all of them. It was so fun.
I remember being big into upgrading guns and fabricating parts. I was big into resource management. Yeah, I was only invested in the human skill trees.
I will say
Chris the kind of motherfucker that's like, oh, you drink caffeinated beverages? I don't have any need for such things.
Just raw dogging my workout, no pre-workout.
That's crazy.
I don't use pre-workout.
You're one of the enlightened ones.
I guess so. Yeah.
The crazy thing is he wakes up out of bed just like excited to be alive with no stimulants.
Just from like 0 to 90, just sits up and he's like, let's begin.
You're like joking, but I'm not.
Well, I'm so eager to get food in my belly.
Oh my God.
I'm hungry.
I have the opposite problem. I dick around too much in the AM and I don't eat until like 9:30 and I'm a fraction of what I could be because of it. I need greater hunger.
Right. You're unintentionally intermittently fasting.
Yeah, just because I'm like, I want to go to the bathroom. I want to, let's see what's on Twitter.
Be careful with the microphone. I think it might rub up against your hairs some of the time.
Oh, like this? Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Oh, this is for the audio listener. You're so close.
Samantha, I got you off the rails there. Sorry.
What were we talking about? Oh, the
Skills.
resource management in Prey is really good.
How much stuff did you recycle?
Oh man, so much stuff. The recycling fabrication system was really cool as well. I feel like I made a ton of glue canisters and shotgun shells and neuromods.
It tickles me so much that you can at will 3D print more neuromods, which are essentially skill points in any other game.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's basically Subnautica in space.
It kind of is in a lot of ways. Though I guess in Subnautica, there's like an element of like building your own headquarters and kind of how you unlock like new things your station can do is you have to like physically build them, find the materials for them. Man, I love Subnautica. Good game.
Maybe a Game of the Year contender.
Oh, did it?
If it had come out another year, maybe.
I was going to ask.
This is a sneak peek of future conversation topics.
Chris, you should play Subnautica if you liked Prey.
Oh, really?
Heath, if you thought Prey was too scary, which part did you give up on? Was it the guts part? Because that part I saw like death looked me in the eye and I stared back and I made it through.
I don't even know what the guts part is.
It's you're like floating and there's just enemies in every corner.
Not
you
even.
get
I haven't
through
even gotten there yet. I'm having trouble getting into the first restricted area where Dr. Such and Such is just walking around.
Dr. Such and Such is just walking.
I can name drop him. Hold on. I can do it. Is it the Neuromod division? It's definitely not Guts.
Okay. Because the Guts, to me,
Hardware Labs?
so scary.
Press on.
Okay.
I'll interrupt you.
And there were definitely other scary parts as well, like some late game enemies. I will end my discussion with this by saying I really liked the ending. I understand that's a controversial take. I frankly don't know why. I think it was a well thought out, interesting ending that added a lot of context and perspective to the story. To the people that didn't like the ending, you can write in why if you so please. But also, I just don't believe that you know how to read. So write in and tell me why you are indeed literate at mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. Plug that email to get hate mail sent in.
That's Mobius Tubes Podcast
It'll be
at
good
gmail.com.
Yeah.
Try to spell that, idiots.
Yeah, maybe you can't write in.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so hostile.
I don't
cut
understand.
open this new package of scissors with your existing scissors.
So yeah, it's what I think about Prey. I thought it was a very good game. I liked it quite a bit. Great recommendation from the Mobius Tubes guys.
You flatter us. How did you like... Did you feel like you had a good amount of agency when it came to being able to solve obstacles how you wanted to?
Oh, I suppose I should mention that as it's like one of the key features of the game. Yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty rare that I came across an obstacle where I was like, there's one way to solve this and I don't have that way. One of my most favorite ways I solved the problem is I was like, oh, I need level 2 hacking to get through this door. I'm not level 2 hacking and I want to conserve my neuromods. So they essentially give you like a Nerf gun in the game. And it obviously doesn't do any damage because it's like a Nerf gun, but it can like activate panels and stuff. So I used my Nerf gun to like shoot through like a slatted window, the unlock door button, and I nailed it. And I got the door open without having to up my neuromod skills or my hacking skills at all. And that was really cool and fun. And there were lots of moments in the game like that where I was like, oh, I don't have the strength to carry these big crates, but I can get around this way and get in this way. So that was really cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Chris, I have a bone to pick with that.
Sure.
I know I'm supposed to love that.
Love that being.
The overwhelming agency that immersive sims grant you. But I don't know. I like touching the goo gun doesn't excite me the way it excites you. It's a hard leap to compare the joy of freedom that you two clearly get from things like that to I'm going to compare it to, you know, those cold case unsolved mystery tabletop date night games.
Yeah.
Where they have like suspects and then clues from like newspaper clippings and police reports and stuff like that.
You
blah,
pour
blah, blah.
over the evidence.
I did one once where it was some sort of like lab researcher or whatever. The victim was in like a genetics field. And in one some such document, there was a RNA sequence of nucleotide bases, just the A, C, T's, and G's. And I was able to spell out using, if you took each codon and translated that to its amino acid analog, it spelled out a secret message that you would only have known had you taken AP Bio.
And it was highly relevant to the case.
It was a cipher, essentially.
Right.
And I think maybe it's just the barrier of having to do like, I don't know. I got way more excited by that than any old, I'm going to crawl in this vent so I don't have to upgrade my hacking. Like, what is it? Am I just so high on my own supply because I had like the sunk cost of taking that class so many years ago, and then I cashed in on it in that cold case game? Or is it just that I don't get as much of a thrill if I'm not physically doing it myself? I bet if I held a physical ass Nerf gun and did it in IRL, I would feel like a brainiac. But when I do it in an immersive sim game, it feels too authored. Does that make any sense?
I think it makes a degree of sense where it's probably
because I know I'm supposed
certain.
to love it. Because the game devs are like, we know you love this, so we put it in a game. And I go, oh, it's not the same.
So Samantha
Arcane?
Samantha solved the locked door with the Nerf gun bullet. And you're right, that was included in the game as a potential solution. So if the authored nature of it bothers you, I have to ask why the authored nature of the amino acid translation didn't also bother you. It's not happenstance that the secret code
you're totally
was in
right.
there.
Yeah, you're totally right. Okay, well that one maybe I'll just chalk it up to like that sunk cost thing.
The thrill you got from your niche bio knowledge paying off is the same thrill I achieve in immersive sim games, where this specialization I performed eons ago is suddenly coming in clutch for this very specific situation I am grappling with.
Yeah.
Both of them just feel like I solved a problem. And it's that cool high whenever you're like face a tricky problem and you're able to figure it out. It's like it doesn't make a ton of difference to me if it's in real life or in a video game. I mean, both times it's really me solving this tricky puzzle.
Maybe it's the difference between you discovering your favorite band and then somebody else trying to push that band onto you, and you're like, in a vacuum, you would have loved that band, but because you kind of have to like, it's being served to you, you're giving it a more critical light.
You are kind of being shunted down a certain path in Prey. You're a big hacker guy, or you're a big carrying heavy objects guy with high leverage skills. You kind of pick a path, and then you need to exploit the path you selected.
You're saying that it's not as verbose as real life?
Right.
But, like, of course it's not.
Of course, yeah. Thank you, Sam. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I know that, like, Chris hails the genre. Immersive sim is in his top 4 favorite genres for this very reason.
Probably.
And I wanna pat him on the back and be like, oh yeah, me too, big guy. I wanna drink his Kool-Aid, but it's hard for me to feel the way that he does.
Your brain says yes, but your heart says no.
That's right. So yeah, folks, just after you're done writing in about how because you're illiterate, you didn't like the ending. Write in about my quandary about how I don't feel the same way that Chris does about immersive sims.
I think that's fair. I mean, all games are personal taste at the end of the day, right? So you're allowed to not like things.
Good devil's advocate, Heath.
Yeah.
I just, we're going to have this conversation again when System Shock is remade. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the next immersive sim on the horizon.
Yeah, I am anticipating the System Shock 2 remake, actually.
Yeah. You think they're going to do the BioShock fogged window number code?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
With the greatest ray tracing on the mirror? Maybe?
Oh, I'm going to play it on a microwave with a 4x3 aspect.
As the designers intended. Very cool. Samantha, I wasn't expecting Prey to receive such high marks from you, but I'm glad it did.
I loved it.
How was the freaking, I'm going to call it the Clockwork DLC.
Oh,
Moon Crash.
Moon
I
Crash.
haven't touched it yet.
The best part of the game.
Chris's number 0 game
from last year.
I haven't touched it yet. I'm saving it for a rainy day because I know I'm going to like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's very neat.
Yeah.
Sweet. Then
over to you, Chris.
Transition. I've played one game that only I've been playing.
We'll see about that.
So I played a highly recommended to me indie game from 2022. It's called Citizen Sleeper.
Oh, Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Ringing a bell?
Yeah, well, it's the... let me break it down. You got the weird UI, and that's
Weird
the
UI.
only thing you see, and it's like that big radar thing, and you're controlling something that's in an environment, and there's like some gauges, and it's all very beige.
Beige is not how I would describe it.
It's all very green.
There is some green.
Citizen Sleeper.
Heath is Googling it. Is this what you pictured in your mind's eye, Heath?
No.
No? Okay.
Oh,
No.
no.
Maybe I'm looking at Citizen Sleeper 2? No.
There is a sequel announced.
No.
I'll dive into the concept of this game. So it's a narrative-focused resource management game where you play as a sleeper. It's a sci-fi game where there's this somewhat nefarious corporation who's created the technology to create sleepers. They're kind of like robotic people. If a flesh and blood person is down on their luck, they can turn their body into this corporation, sell it, and the corporation will scan their brain, create an emulated mind they shunt into a sleeper for cheap robotic labor. So, this game, throughout the game's runtime, there are some themes of, some skepticism around corporations and capitalism. And you are thrust into it you're in a very rough, raw deal, living day to day as a sleeper because you're on the run. You escape from your corporate overlords to try to live a free life. But this robotic body you find yourself in is built with planned obsolescence in mind. So your body is constantly decomposing, basically, unless you can find your super corporation's proprietary medicine juice and inject yourself. Otherwise, you'll rapidly fall apart. And the other catch is that medicine you need to survive is very expensive. So you crash land on a partially abandoned space station. It's a ring, kind of like a halo. And you need to eke out an existence here, paying for medicine that's overpriced just so that you can reach the very next day. And that's kind of the opening concept of how Citizen Sleeper works. Mechanically, it's very approachable. Every day, you are presented with a dice roll. We're talking between 1 to 5 dice you have to play with, 6-sided, and you see the results. And you will spend your dice on actions each and every day. Actions can be everything from working a menial job to earn some money, or investigating a new part of town to open up new options for you when you know what shops are there, or visiting a market vendor's stall to feed yourself. And you've only got a very limited quantity of dice to spend every day, and that's where the resource management game comes in. It's almost like the Persona life sim, although now you're feeling much more constrained, where you're on a day-to-day calendar where every day your hunger meter is going to tick down and your life bar, which is called condition, is going to degrade as well. And it's a race against the clock to try to allocate your limited pool of dice each and every day on the actions that'll be most beneficial. So, cool, approachable resource management life sim game. But that's kind of the underpinnings of what is the focus of Citizen Sleeper is the sci-fi story it's telling, where you're going to find yourself embroiled in a bunch of mostly unrelated subplots with the characters you meet. There's an eclectic cast of characters you'll meet while trying to live on Erland's Eye, the space station you're on. Different factions you'll meet and try to get in good with. And it's got some interesting world building. The fact that at first people are often quite skeptical of your very existence as a sleeper. Sleepers are somewhat rare to encounter because any sleepers out in the world have successfully pulled off quite the big escape fleeing from the mother corporation. So they don't know there's you're dealing with some robot racism. You're in a difficult position, which means initially many of your relationships in the game start out feeling somewhat cold and transactional. It makes the feeling of warmth when characters do show you kindness later on all the more palpable. And I think the game, while it starts out so cold and unforgiving, has a really nice arc to it, where by the end, I began to feel like this a forgotten space station I'm on was beginning to feel like a home I could embrace. So I think the plot worked quite well on me. I liked this approach of video games kind of just introducing a few light mechanical elements. I'm just choosing how to spend a few dice every day. And that provides kind of a skeleton for me to care more about the plot on top of, where I'm getting more invested in. I'm choosing which subplots to advance with my precious dice and which ones I put on the back burner. I feel so much more the hunger of my characters so much more explicitly when it's up to me to make sure I get fed every day. And it's like I'm just scraping by the skin of my teeth.
Hey, you want to? I'll be a character, and then you can make sure that I'm not wasting my breakfast moments.
No, it was so good. I recommend it. I do have a few nitpicks. None of these are game breakers here, but if I was going to find a few criticisms to pin on Citizen Sleeper, I'd say I had a couple bugs where occasionally the entire UI would just kind of vanish. This was remedied by closing the game and restarting. No big deal. But it's a light RPG where you do have a skill tree in this game. It's not the kind of thing where you're going to hop onto the Citizen Sleeper subreddit and ask the community to rank your build, because it's not at that deep. But what I will say about the skill tree is I felt it was somewhat unbalanced, where there were a lot of skills that, were like moderately useful. And then there were just a couple that seemed like wildly better than the others. What I'm most referring to is an engineering skill that allows you to take a piece of scrap metal and use it to repair your condition, aka your life bar, where usually the only means you have of replenishing health is buying that really expensive proprietary medicine. It costs 100 cryo. That's the currency. And if you're just using scrap metal instead, it kind of just pays for itself so quickly. I feel like you need to rush that self-repair skill. It has massive utility, more so than anything else I could find. So a bit of a wonkily balanced skill tree where some skills were far more useful than others. This didn't happen to me, but I could see this game resulting in a rather unpleasant death spiral where how much health you have every day determines the number of dice you have to work with that day, your number of actions, more or less. And if you're really struggling in this game and you're low on health and you've only got like 1 or 2 dice to spend on your entire day, how are you going to recover from that? Like you're using a fraction of your potential actions have been given to you and you're in a bad spot. It seems unrecoverable to me. Now I think you have to be making some pretty botched decisions to put yourself in that position. Because the game, I think I had kind of the intended difficulty curve experience where early on things feel a little bit dicey. I have to make a couple tough judgment calls about how I'm allocating my dice. But by the mid game, it kind of became smooth sailing. So not intended to be that challenging of a game. But if you somehow severely mess up, I don't know how you bounce back unless there is some mechanic, some like Hail Mary guardian angel happenstance that happens if you're on your deathbed.
I kind of like the game more if it's just you fail and die, because it's more realistic to a silly robot space situation.
I agree. It could just be like a harsh commentary on the world.
Yeah.
If you're in a bad spot and in some ways it would be a commentary on what the cycle of poverty is like in real life.
I mean, that's exactly why I would appreciate it more if there's no Hail Mary saves, because the cycle of poverty is rather inescapable.
Well said, Samantha. And then lastly, somewhat of a nitpick, somewhat not. I found the game most compelling when I was juggling like a whole bunch of plot lines concurrently. It was fun being like, okay, I want to become better friends with Emphas, like the food vendor guy, but to advance his subplot, I have to keep buying his food, so I have to reasonably wait until I'm hungry again. So I'm just kind of like visiting him a couple times a week, no more than that. So I'm going to be spending all my time right now setting up my mushroom farm. Because if once I get that going, it's going to be growing mushrooms for me at like a reasonable rate. So I really want to jumpstart that endeavor, which means I'm going to try to play hooky with like the guy I owe money at the bar for now. It's just so I can like rush the mushroom game right now. So if you have a bunch of plot lines happening in tandem, it's fun weighing those opportunity costs and juggling them all at once. So that's a praise for the game. The criticism I had was when I reached the late game, and I had, just through my own lack of exploring the proper areas of this station, I came across some quest lines later than I should have, and they were in isolation, where I was only doing a single quest at a one time. The game becomes far less engaging, where I would wake up, pour all of my dice into the only quest I have to pursue right now, and go to bed. The richness of my decisions kind of evaporated when I only had one active quest to pursue. Mm-hmm. So maybe my only suggestion would be add some breadcrumbs to, like, if I have accidentally avoided a main hub of the game until way later than I should have, maybe add some like narrative threads to like guide me there if the game can detect.
Like them 13 Sentinels.
Yeah. That's good. And so that was most of what I had to say about Citizen Sleeper, except for the way it handles its endings, which I thought was a little bit interesting, where there's a bunch of quests to pursue. Some quests, 3 or 4 of them, if you take them to their logical endpoint, will present you with your ability to announce like you've reached an ending for your character, where they will maybe like leave the station you're on. Now that's only certain quests give you the opportunity to hit credits. I had kind of a funny experience where somehow Neo in the Matrix dodged all the endgame quests until like very late. So I hit a point where I had wrapped up all active quests, and I was just like sitting there on the station, feeling like the game should have ended and not realizing why it hadn't. I'd somehow missed all like the late game quests.
Yeah, you're like... No, I can't. That's a spoiler.
Okay. So I like that the game gives you like different off-ramps for you to choose your character's fate when they leave Erland's Eye, or if you one by one reject each and every opportunity to like start a new life for your character, eventually you will be in the situation I just described, where you just find yourself on the station, a new day arrives, there's no more quests. By not making a decision, you have decided your home is Erland's Eye, the space station. And there is no kind of ending for you. You just exist here now. And that was interesting to me. A game that doesn't force you to choose an ending. You can just, by omission, live there.
Oh, like you're saying if you don't do that one mission in Red Dead Redemption 2, you can just be a cowpoke for the rest of your days.
Yeah, more or less.
Yep.
So Citizen Sleeper, I recommend it. It was, I think it met the expectations that have been set for me. It was a fun sci-fi story that is amplified by the somewhat tricky but mostly straightforward resource management game.
Hey, Chris, how many times did you reload in your saves during this game?
Thanks, Samantha. That was a criticism I left off. I feel like the game could have done a better job of disincentivizing save scumming. So this is a game that has...
I feel like my girlfriend could have done a better job of disincentivizing cheating.
He's right, though.
Yeah, so it's a...
She could have...
It's a light RPG where you're slotting dice rolls into certain actions.
Chris rolls like 3 6s and a 5, and he's like, bullshit. Reset.
If you use a 6 to take an action, you have a guaranteed positive outcome.
What a crit.
Where if you go a little bit risky and try to do an action with a 1, it goes down to being as bad as a 50% negative outcome, 50% neutral outcome. You won't even get a positive outcome if you use a 1. And then all the numbers between 1 and 6 is a sliding gradient of in between those two extremes. But yeah, every time I hit a negative outcome and I was like starving all of a sudden, I'd quit to main menu and go right back. I essentially avoided any negative outcomes that way. And also, when you wake up each and every morning and you see your initial dice pool you're going to be working with, if I see 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, I'm probably going to go back to the main menu.
That's what Herbert Hoover saw when he woke up on the president's desk.
I'm just going to reload that shit. So, I mean, this could have been easily avoided with, I mean, the game uses autosave. Why doesn't it just autosave at the start of every day and make the bullshit I was pulling impossible?
Fire Emblem Three Houses, even if you reload, the RNG is like fixed at the start of the game.
Yes.
So your outcome is not changed. Like if you were going to crit, you were always going to crit based on whatever seed you started with. And that would be another solve.
So
probably easier.
I slightly cheated myself by save scumming because I'm is it a Sid Meier quote? Players will optimize the fun out of any game.
Oh, it's attributed to Shiggy.
I don't think Shigeru Miyamoto said that.
Shigeru Miyamoto came up with everything.
But yeah, so for Citizen Sleeper 2, add more breadcrumbing to key quests, reduce save scumming potential, and you'll be golden.
I can reduce save scumming potential by just holding a gun to your head and saying, Chris,
yeah,
how worth it is it to
pretend
you?
This is a roguelike, yeah.
I'm broken. I can't help myself.
This argument isn't going to work if you cheat on me.
Samantha, you just need to provide a different incentive structure.
Make me dinner.
Now you're in trouble.
All right. That's all I had to say about Citizen Sleeper.
This birthday present is a 1.
I have one more question.
Sure.
So you let off with the premise being that like they scan your human brain and then you're put into a robot. I feel like that raises a lot of questions. Do they ever dive into that?
So it's not super delved into. Your human person, you're fine. You're normal. You're basically signing over like the rights to your brain so that this corporation can use digital you as slave labor.
Oh, so it's like a clone. It's like a robot
It's a clone.
Okay.
You get paid so that a different version of you can suffer.
I thought they were selling your like human body to like a meat grinder.
No.
And I was like, not worth it? You're just going to die anyway.
No,
that makes more sense.
You see how it's tempting.
Yes. Yeah. I see how it is super
sucks
tempting.
if you wake up and you're the sleeper.
Yikes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair. Thanks for the clarification.
Sure thing. Moving on to our next game. What should we tackle?
I'll go first, then we can end with the one we all did.
The three-way. Yeah.
So I played another game, the 2021 game called Inscryption. It's a card game, kind of escape room game. It's quite good. I would say it has spooky vibes, which is why I played it, because we are approaching October.
This is a Mobius Tube's fan favorite game.
I was recommended because I could not stop hearing Heath and Chris going, oh yeah, but is its twist akin to Inscryption? And I was like, I gotta find out what this is before they just outright spoil it for me unprompted. And I will say, I'm glad I was unspoiled for the big reveals, we'll say. I loved the card game. I like card games in real life, like just regular trick takers or shedding card games. And I really liked this card game. It was definitely a learning curve because I've never really played like a Slay the Spire or Hearthstone before. I thought the initial encounters with Leshy are pretty creepy. Initially, all you can see of your partner are just his like glowing eyes in the dark and then occasionally his hands. And I think that lends a lot to the spooky atmosphere. As you progress through playing card games against this like spooky creature, some of the cards will start talking to you, and that lets you kind of know there's more to this game than just like winning card matches. You're also trying to escape the cabin and away from this man who, in a twist, whenever you lose all your lives or if you lose a boss fight, he will take you to the back part of the cabin, I assume, and takes your picture, which kills you.
Captured in 4K.
Captured in 4K.
Got him.
This during this will allow you to create a death card. These are persistent throughout the game, and that like in the next run you might see it pop up. These death cards can be very powerful. Essentially, you go through and pick like its attack power and health, how much it costs for you to play it, and like any sort of special abilities it has. And like you can make some really gross cards doing this.
It's your personalized Frankenstein card.
Yeah,
it is.
Give them your friends' names like Janice does.
I'm going to tell you how my naming convention went.
Her naming scheme was crazy.
So here's what happened. Every time I died, I just named the card Sam, because that's my name. But then I made a death card that dealt 42 damage in one go.
You were like, Big Sam.
And so I named that one Sam Final. And then the next run I did, I got that card and then beat it. So I was correct.
So it was the final
Sam. It was the final Sam.
Wow.
And I thought that was pretty apt, I guess.
What a reputation that card had to live up to. Like so much pressure on him.
Imagine if the final boss fight had gone differently, then it would have been a different kind of final. And I will say no more about the game because I don't want to give away anything. But I really liked the game. I thought it was a good level of spooky without really being anything too gory or scary, with the exception of maybe when I had to like stab my own eye out, which was unpleasant. And I really liked where it took the game afterwards, and I thought the ending was really cool. Any comments from you guys on my experience?
What was your favorite boss? Did you 100% this thing?
Yes.
Oh, so we're doing a spoiler cast right here, right now.
Okay, can we talk spoilers now?
Let's delay it a little bit. I have some other questions. You have now since dived into Casey's mod.
Just a little bit, yes.
How is that treating you? I've never touched it.
I mean, if you are a person who played Inscryption and you were like, wow, this card game is really fun, like me, Casey's mod is great because you can just kind of play the game. There's like a couple different things added to it where there's like one or two new mechanics, and then there are like some challenges essentially you can run through. I take it it's just for people who really liked the card game. I don't know if there's a ton of additional lore. Like I've said, just dipped my toe into it. I'm on my second run, period. And I'm liking it quite a bit. I'll definitely keep playing Inscryption. Even though I've beat the story all the way through, I'm going to try messing around with Casey's mod a bit more before I quit forever.
Casey's mod is not great because now that it's here, if you were to hit new game, like you would when you try to show your friend this cool game, it boots you into the 8-bit thing.
Oh no!
Yeah, you can't take it from like the very start where Leshy's like, here's the stoat. Like this is how the game works. New game takes you to the thing, and then Casey's mod, the music is so bad, it's so boring. I need something better.
So this is an age-old debate, Samantha. Heath is of the opinion you cannot reset the game.
There's nothing to debate. I had to buy a second copy of the
without
game.
Buying a new copy. Surely that can't be the case.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I haven't tried to reset the game. You're asking me to weigh in on a debate.
Yeah, weigh in on this debate.
I have no...
It just seems crazy.
Deleting local content doesn't work.
That sucks.
Anyway, has your enjoyment of Inscryption elevated your priority for playing Slay the Spire?
Yes. Yeah, because I like the card game. It's fun.
Nice. Yeah, Slay the Spire is what if it was Act 1 of Inscryption, but there's no story, but the decisions are even richer.
Okay.
How much did you cheese the teeth?
Cheese the teeth.
Did you like get just to the penultimate point and like just kind of wait until you were good, it's like really strong, so that your final blow makes them just, it's like a whole dentist's worth.
I did a couple times where I would like delay ending it like one turn to get more extra points.
Bowl.
With my Sam final, as I talked about, who did 42 damage. I just had so much money at the end. I was like, if I buy this many pelts, my deck will just be obliterated. So I didn't do that. But I mean, it was really fun just seeing me be so rich. I was like, I have so much money.
Tier list the like forbidden, like the super rare cards, the like the beasts and all that.
Should we transition into spoiler content?
Yeah.
Okay. We're entering Inscryption spoilers section now.
Did you ever take the long elk?
One time, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, long elk sucks.
I was like, I took it on my first time. I was like offered a rare card because I was like,
and you were like, what is this picture of?
Yeah, I was just kind of curious, and I was like, this sucks.
Neck, right?
It's its antlers, right? No?
I think it's just the mane of it.
Ew. Ugh. Yeah, I didn't like that card. It was like too expensive and also wasn't that good. So
Amalgam.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I had a like mush together amalgam from the mushroom guy. So he was like 6 and 6. And he's pretty good because, he can be any totem will work for him. And that's his like deal.
Yeah, but whenever it's like, oh, you can pick a mammal card, a bird card, or a reptile card, I'm like, this is I can't work around the animal types.
Oh, by the end of it, I mean,
Predictably.
once you get like the squirrel head, I don't understand why you wouldn't use the squirrel totem all the time.
Oh, no, you for sure.
Yeah, I guess up until that point, maybe it matters a little bit. But after that, I mean, squirrel totem all the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hated the kingfishers. Like those
Oh, they're
birds
so
that
annoying.
swim, so
Yes.
you have no defense.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. They're annoying. The only way I've worked out how to deal with them is have a card that deals more damage than they do plopped right in front of them. So it's like, yeah, they're hitting me, but I'm hitting them harder back. And they can't come back from that.
So that's swing, because you can never get like a perfect look at your score. Like
No.
the health points.
Never once. Every time I put teeth on the scale, it was a guess.
I would just be like, okay, in 3 I die. Okay.
Yeah. Like sometimes I would die and be like, well, I could have used my pliers had I known it was that dire.
Let's talk about items.
Squirrel in a jar, my favorite.
Yeah.
Even though it's so basic.
Blood goat.
The blood goat was also very good.
Yeah.
I liked the scissors where you could like destroy one of his cards. And then the hook was a favorite as well.
How much pack rat did you use?
I would often sacrifice the pack rat
Yeah.
so I could give his power to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's kind of lame.
Did you discover the ringworm?
Yes. And he turns into like the big guy. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different guy.
Oh, you're thinking of like Child 13?
No. There's one of them who he takes 2 evolutions.
You're thinking of the larva.
Yeah, the larva.
Yeah.
Yeah, he takes 2 evolutions and then he does like 7 damage.
Okay,
which is
and
pretty
then
good.
Uruli? Or
Yeah.
what's his name?
Yeah.
Ouroboros?
No, the Yeti type.
So, fun fact. When I approached the mushroom one time, the only thing I had 2 of was 2 golden pelts. And he will knit your pelts together. And so he did that. And then I was able to trade in that knitted together golden pelt for a knitted together Uruli.
Urayuli.
So he was 14 health, 14 damage.
Yeah,
and that
broken.
was pretty good.
Yeah. And then Gek.
Gek is so silly.
Gek is great.
Because he's free.
He's free.
And it's, I would pick him when in doubt because he's free.
Yeah.
And you can just upgrade him if you want him to be better.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Shall we ask Samantha about her thoughts on the larger plot?
Come on, guys. What about the boss? I want to talk about them.
Okay. Let's talk about favorite bosses then.
Then we can talk about the plot after. All of the bosses in phase 3 were cool.
Right.
So fun. Chris, at one point, you were my enemy on the board.
I was on the board.
You monster.
Taps into your Steam friend list.
So here's a fun fact. There's one of them, one of the bosses where you like have to use files on your actual computer to do damage. The archivist. And my computer is very new. I got it like less than a year ago. And at one point, he's like, pick your oldest file. And I was like, oh, this .sys file is like the oldest thing I have because my computer's new. And then they were like, yeah, we're going to delete that file if this card dies. And I was like, I think you're going to break my computer. So believe it or not, I didn't play that card.
Surely, like, can you think of, have games ever done that in the past?
Threatened to delete files outside of the game.
Or just the kind of, the like break the fourth wall type of thing. Because Inscryption, if they have, I doubt they did it as well as that boss battle did.
I've seen it pop up a couple times in other PC games, but nothing tops Inscryption's execution.
I texted you in all caps. I was freaking out.
Inscryption was like, I'm holding your computer hostage. And I was like, you're winning. I will lose this boss fight to not break my computer. Good job, guys.
It's so good.
It was so funny. What a delightful set of bosses. And then the twist reveal that all of these bosses were connecting you to the internet, taking pictures. So Inscryption can be sold on Steam and it's all your fault because it's a cursed game. Really funny.
But boy, walking around that blue VR maze trying to find each of those points of interest.
What I wouldn't have done for like a single flashlight in that part. I couldn't see shit. So dark.
When you step away from the game board.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So dark. I just needed a little bit of light and I would have been okay.
Yeah.
Also, some of those puzzles were hard and I didn't solve them.
No.
Which is fine.
There's conversations to be had with the jar of ooze.
Yes, I talked to him.
But no, when I'm talking about the blue maze where you're walking around his little puzzle. Like the actual overworld between battles.
Right.
Wow, I spent twice as long as I imagined the playtesters did trying to find the points of interest.
I agree. With Leshy's map, it's like very clear where you're going, and I appreciated that. And then RO3 is just like, figure it out, idiot. And he's right, because I am an idiot.
The spooky skeleton boss battle that never was, because the game starts to delete itself at that point.
The pirate one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
We got robbed.
It's like what the game could have been. Parts 3 and 4.
But he's too busy making Pony Island now.
Ooh.
No, he's making that game with Sungwon in it.
That's what I called it.
Oh, okay.
Pony Island 2?
Oh, you're right. It is Pony Island 2, isn't it?
Yeah. Chris, you asked about the plot.
Yes.
So interspersed with all this card game tomfoolery is this just like Luke Carter, a real human being with like live action recording, just going about his day, having his life ruined by Inscryption. And my first issue with Luke Carter is that he opened a card pack, looked at the card and was like, these latitude and longitude, that's really close to where I am, and didn't immediately set fire to this card pack that he found. That happened to me. I'd be like, not today. Not happening to me.
But Samantha, he's doing it for the clicks.
Yeah, the content, Sam.
I see.
Do you know how many views you could get?
I see. I guess.
That's liquid gold right there.
As someone who's never chased clout before, I guess I just don't relate. But I thought he was a fool for doing that. Seeing him get shot in the end, I guess, was a little extreme, but I was like...
did she shoot him or did she stab him?
Oh, I heard a gunshot, yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, he was dead either way.
More like the unlucky Carter, am I right?
So true. Yeah, seeing his stuff was really funny. It added some cool extra context to the game, and I liked it. I liked the plot. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had it without. I enjoyed that stuff.
It added a whole other layer to the experience that I quite appreciated.
Yeah. I liked all the parts of the game. I liked the very end when I'm sad that these horrible monsters are dying.
How far did you get in the paintbrush guys battle?
The paintbrush guy.
Magician?
The magician.
Oh.
Magnifico?
Not...
The world is just like spinning every so often, right?
It was at the point where if we had played longer, he was just gonna destroy me because I wasn't drawing cards I needed.
Oh yeah, his mechanic is different.
I actually used the Magician's deck in part 2 when I was like wandering through the world where you get to play with everybody. So I liked the Magician's deck. His was probably my least favorite animation wise. It was just like too weird. It
was a white box.
Yeah, I liked the skeleton one quite a bit. I thought it was really good.
Oh my god, it was
with
great.
The chessboard,
fun trombone, trumpet, whatever.
So cool. I was like, dang, I wanted to stay there longer, but it got deleted. How unfortunate.
Leaves you hungry for more.
Leaves me hungry for more. But yeah, I loved Inscryption. Great game, really fun. Happy to play Slay the Spire in the future.
The sequel.
The sequel.
So scary when you grab the camera and you have the film and you like put the viewfinder to your face and then the subtitles of Leshy being like, give that back. It's like shaking red and he lunges at you.
Nice try, because I was speed clicking the moment that camera got into my hands.
I tried to
I was
read
like,
it.
no way.
I tried
Get you,
to read
bitch.
it and then I froze in fear. And I thought, oh, did it auto click for me? I couldn't tell.
I was like mashing my click button because I was like, I'm sure this is like a time sensitive event and I'm not missing it.
I wanted to find out.
Oh my God.
But I just, yeah.
Brave. How brave.
Heath takes risks for his journalistic integrity.
I appreciate that, but I'm not that brave, I guess.
All right. Excellent Inscryption talk. So good to hear more about it after all these years. And we are entering the fall spooky season.
Yeah.
It's very appropriate. Now I've teed up our next game. Speaking of, somewhat horror-like experiences.
That is a horror game. Yeah.
Where all three of us have at least
I'll cut that. Relax.
No, I think you're right.
I think you're fine. I mean, the game warns you as much when you boot it up.
No, it says it's like it's a love story.
I was excited because I told Chris it was a horror game, and then we played it, and he was like, this is a comedy.
All three of us have been playing Slay the Princess, a game from last year. I believe as of right now, only available on the PC. I don't think it's migrated to consoles yet.
It's coming to the Switch soon.
Oh.
maybe.
Switch port announced, which is probably why I haven't heard this game get a whole lot of buzz in the circles I frequent. But I'll tee up the premise before we all dive in. It's another one of these branching narrative games. You're dumped into a situation without too much context, told you're going to go slay a princess. She's in a basement of a cottage.
Go get her.
Go get her, tiger. And that's really all you have to go off of in this game. It's smaller budget, really beautiful, like black and white illustration style.
Okay, keep going.
And I am immediately struck with just how many different dialogue options I have before me to choose on this choose your own adventure type story.
It does make you feel like whatever you want to say in that moment, you can say it. It's pretty cool.
almost any impulse I naturally had of what I would ask in the game had a somewhat analogous option for me
like
in the menu.
throwing the blade out the window as soon as you pick it up. Goofy stuff like that.
Probably best to go and play this game blind if you intend to do so. We're going to keep it very spoiler light here without going into too much plot detail, but we'll be talking in broad strokes. If you want to be completely blind, maybe just tune out to this podcast right now, but we can still talk in generalities.
Heath, on a scale of 1 to 10,
Heath,
how scared were you?
Well, I wasn't too scared because the art style, you said it's beautiful hand-drawn animation, whatever. I don't know, Chris. This is kind of like the art style, it's too close to like the Sonic OC stuff that I've seen. So it's, like people's hand-drawn comics of like Sonic and Eggman and all that.
I would say what you're commenting on is like
The girl got big eyes.
webtoon art style.
Yeah. And I could leave it.
At times, I could see the webcomic comparison.
I agree, but also I think the art style does a good job of like subtly communicate to you what's going on at the moment with the princess in particular. Because the roots vary quite a lot, and I think the way she's drawn is not consistent, and I think that's intentional.
Oh, definitely.
Like her eyes get smaller or bigger based on your decisions.
That's the kind of video game consequences I want in my games.
Make her scarily anime.
I mean, yeah, I'll say it's doing Doki Doki, but with the most, especially when you get towards the end, where it's like the most verbose, flowery. If you played Doki Doki Literature Club and you love slam poetry, play this game. You're gonna be. It's a feast for the ears.
What do you mean by enjoying slam poetry?
It's all this like, oh, she was this type of person, and thus she will be born a bold heart.
You don't have to listen to that.
It's not the kind of. What do you mean? Don't have to? It's within the game.
I mean, you can just get past it.
Yeah.
I mean, the core part of this game is reading the dialogue.
Yeah.
I thought that Undertale took its more not meta themes, but just like the whole determination motif, the whole existential dread of the in-game characters. I think Undertale did it a lot more tactfully than Bingo Games. What's the developers of this thing?
Something cat?
It was something like Tabby. Black Tabby Cat?
Black Tabby Games. Black Tabby Games.
Black Tabby Games.
Yeah, I could maybe Sam, tell me it's because I'm a boy.
Oh no, I mean, if you're saying Undertale has like a more through line with regards to its theme and handles like the idea of a meta narrative better, I'm not going to disagree there. I mean, you're right. Undertale does have a really concrete, solid theme. It's great writing. I think I'm not here for Slay the Princess for its theme. I think I'm here for like the fun decision making, the nuance, and then like the emotional core.
I liked when I heard the narrator's voice.
The voice acting in this game was phenomenal.
I will say there are a few games I haven't immediately been as smitten with the voice acting as this one. And smitten was a pun because the voice of the smitten is one of the best.
He's like a Shakespearean theater, he's like a theater actor, thespian.
Yeah.
I think all of the voice of X, like the emotions, I think they're all done by the same guy.
I believe so.
That's so
and
impressive.
He's got some good range.
Yeah, he's got quite the range.
I think a lot of the game is quite sharply written, especially a lot of your dialogue options or how the narrator is speaking or some of the characters. It does sometimes become too verbose, I believe, where especially if you have multiple voice of characters in your head at any given time, and they start going in circles, just talking to each other again and again.
It's damn near Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, I mean, I haven't played enough Kingdom Hearts to know exactly what you mean. Is that game just like overly...
Xehanort is in the dark, but his heart is light. Inside my heart.
I don't think it became incoherent. I just thought there were more cycles of all the voices giving their 2 cents than there needed to be.
It felt like they were like, we don't want people to think this voice isn't here anymore. Therefore, every time we break, they must all say a line. And it's like
Avengers that way.
Yes, that's how I would compare it to. Everyone has to get their word in. And it does get a little tiring if you're at like 4 voices and you're like, okay, boys, pack it in. Like, I just want to go talk to the girl. But I don't know. I don't think that like makes it unplayable. Still fun game.
It was a nitpick.
It's just my least favorite of this genre. I like Stanley Parable more. I like Undertale more.
All right, let's get into it because Samantha, between last episode and now, you have played the Stanley Parable.
So
Holy
I thought
crap.
Stanley Parable was okay. I think I did it a disservice by waiting this long in my video game career to play it because it's just, I feel like other games have taken what Stanley Parable did and run with it. And playing Stanley Parable, it's just like, oh yeah, this is all feeling really familiar to me. Probably because I played it last. So I thought it was okay. I mean, Chris told me, this was really funny to me, that his first impulse was to like thoroughly obey the narrator. And my first impulse while playing the game was to listen to what that guy said and do the direct opposite. So it shows which one of us has issues with authority.
Heath, what was your first impulse in Slay the Princess?
I got the bad, and I slayed the princess. I did it. I didn't do the surprise attack.
I see. Did you get what the game classifies as the good ending?
Yeah, she becomes unchained, right? And then the shambling mound is like, get over here. Right? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't think he got the.
You didn't get the good ending.
Okay, put good ending in quotes because it's not really.
It's more of a
ending.
gag ending.
Yeah, it's like, haha, you did it. Game over.
So Samantha was like, Chris loves obeying authority. My whole idea of just like doing the game straightforward through the first time is just to like ground myself to see what like get establish a baseline of like how this is going to play
like a
out.
Skinner's box.
Any man with a deep voice could tell Chris to do something, and he's just like, well, I got to see if he's right.
The narrator was like, the princess will try to manipulate you and trick you, and she'll stop at nothing to win you to your side. Don't fall for it. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm not going to fall for it. Yeah. She's going down.
And I was like, why do I trust you? I just met you, and you won't even tell me why I'm here. Yeah.
Chris is the guy in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 that snipes Mason immediately.
Chris is just living his best life.
Frank is like, doesn't seem right. Something's not adding up.
Listen, guys, I just love being a cog in the machine.
Chris is just like a little to the left.
Chris was also unbearable because he got the good ending right away and like 15 minutes flat, I think. Like barely touched this game.
Speed run.
Yeah, he sped run it essentially. And then I've been looking forward to playing this game with him for like a year. And he was like, well, we did it. We played. I guess we're done now. And I was like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
I quit the game, booted up chat to Janice, just typed easy game and hit enter, and then signed off.
The C is now playing Returnal.
We hit some endings where she was very scary, and then we hit some endings where she was very nice.
Yeah, and then just like the art stuff, when it wasn't just like a smear of graphite, it was like really gross. It was just like when she gets crushed that one time, like
that was gross.
I'm not sure I've seen that.
We saw that. Remember when we're underground? Go.
Oh,
it's just not for me, guys. Give me Frog Fractions 2. Give me Stanley.
Frog Fractions 2.
I'll tell you about that when you're older.
What?
Yeah.
It sounds like you needed to hit me with that one like 20 years ago.
I think I'm more positive on it than Heath, that's for sure. I was so tickled by the voice acting.
People called it a masterpiece.
I don't see that.
Yeah.
I think it's a worthy entry in whatever this genre is called, but I don't think it's a new pinnacle or anything.
The genre is called Fourth Wall King Simulator. I don't know.
I liked the romance aspect to it in that it's kind of new to this area of gaming. Like, I guess you could say Doki Doki, but like, that's not really a romance game.
I've never played Doki Doki. I've never even booted it.
That's crazy. I played that when I was like a child.
No.
It was so scary. I don't know.
It came out in 2017.
Okay. Yeah. So it was like an adult.
Yeah.
In college.
Yeah. So a child.
I think, obviously this game wasn't working with a massive budget or anything. You only see...
It was Undertale.
Yeah.
Undertale took like 50 years to make.
Let me make my point. Just that due to the fact that the game is mostly just reading text, that I think is to the game's benefit, and that it allowed them to cost effectively add the verbose number of dialogue options that are in there. Since going down a new path just requires like a couple more lines of dialogue, maybe a couple more still images. And then you've got a whole new potential option you can throw into the game very cost effectively.
Also, we haven't talked about like the other big draw to this game other than like the verbose options is like, wow, there are certainly a lot of paths you can take.
Right.
And a lot of them are subtly different. Yes.
The game's flowchart is a spider web.
Yes.
Yeah. Seemingly small, innocuous decisions send you down very different outcomes. And it's the fun of being like, wow, this choose your own adventure storybook I'm going to play and over the course of like 90 minutes can really splinter. It gives you your personalized experience of which princesses you meet, the order in which you meet them, Certain paths certainly emotionally resonated with me far stronger than others, and it's kind of just a luck of the draw, which whether the ones you happen to find are compelling to you or not.
Yes.
Like the very first non-gag ending we hit, I was quite lukewarm on. I believe that was the princess called the Stranger.
Yes.
That was kind of a weird one to hit right away.
Well, they even tell you, like the shifting mounds, when you go talk to her, she's like, I'm sorry you hit this so early in your journey. And I was looking at Chris being like, so am I.
Yeah, it was fun. She apologized that I hit the weird one right away.
Yeah, she was like, I probably should save this for later. And we hit our favorite ending, if I may be so bold, like outside of our first run, because we've continued to play it a bit.
The Thorn.
The Thorn. If anyone hits the Thorn, what an ending. That was pretty good.
That was in its own little microcosm. I was great.
That's
Yeah.
the one when you kiss her.
Maybe.
Don't you? I think that's the only place you can kiss her.
I think.
I saw no smooching.
Yeah, we didn't get a kiss.
Oh, the Stranger is weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of creepy.
I will say, when I found out, when we eventually hit a
No, yeah, you can totally kiss her.
What the heck? Why didn't we kiss her?
Damn.
You had to have
Chris was in charge of the controls.
you had to
Reload.
have flirted to her with her in the in like the tunnel.
Maybe we didn't do that.
And who always is the flirty one? We could have called her beautiful and she would have kissed us.
I still stand by the comment that I think this game is far more of a comedy than a horror game. Where, like, when she's coming at you with the blades and you can give her the look.
That's so funny.
And then she just starts blushing. It's so good.
Yeah, that one was really good. I will say, so the reason I know a little bit more about this game when Chris and I played it together at the same time is because I watched a little streaming of it when it came out because I was really excited about it. And I watched it by myself in my apartment with the lights off, and I thought it was scary because I watched the nightmare ending, and it was scary. Playing it with Chris, I was like, oh, this isn't that scary anymore.
Yeah, it becomes much funnier.
I think it was atmosphere that's giving it spooky vibes.
I'm wrapping up my final thoughts here. When I found out kind of the premise of what the game is actually about, when you're heading like a real ending for real, that didn't resonate with me that strongly. It's pretty high concept.
Yeah.
What are you talking around? The friggin' Undertale thing?
The like who you are, why you're there, what the shifting mound is, those kind of questions and answers, and the decisions you make about them. Yeah, kind of the whole concept of why this is happening didn't like wow me.
Yeah.
I was more in it for the individual storylines playing out.
And should I even say this?
I don't know.
I'll say it and we can
about to-
cut it if it's too much. I like that it. Oh,
it's
crazy.
a Schrodinger's girl.
Yes. Okay, let's cut out all of that.
Yeah.
Heath, say the Schrodinger's girl thing again.
She's Schrodinger's girl.
Does that make you appreciate the game more?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still a 3 out of 5.
Okay. That's fair. Do you want me to like fight you on that or something?
You're welcome to.
I think it was a 4 out of 5.
I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Undertale gets a 5 out of 5. We're in
You're a
agreement.
girl. All right.
Yeah,
So,
it's because I'm a girl.
2/3 of Mobius Tubes will recommend Slay the Princess. Play it on a platform near you.
My opinion's 3/5 of Mobius Tubes. My
Gonna get
brother.
canceled. No.
Whoa.
All right, and that's everything we've been playing. That was an eclectic mix of games.
Oh my.
Why don't we take a break? And when we return,
When we come back.
we'll be talking about our personal game of the years over the years. See you then. And we're back. Well, I thought it would just be a fun exercise to look at the past decade or so, do a quick review of what our personal game of the years are each and every year. We have more hindsight than ever before now. Maybe we've played a greater selection of the games that have released. Samantha's a relatively new addition to the cast. We can get kind of a sample platter of her tastes this way.
boy.
I also just got this idea from other podcasts I've been listening to. I've been doing this, and I'm a copycat. So we'll be starting in the year 2014, fairly arbitrarily, and working our way up to the present, talking about our personal picks for Game of the Year each year. Simple premise.
2014 is when the Game Awards started.
Yes, when this version of Jeff Keighley's Game Awards did start in 2014.
Totally not arbitrary, intentional.
Yeah, I guess we're aligned in that way. They gave it to Dragon Age Inquisition this year, or in 2014, but I don't think...
In the year of our Lord.
We'll see how we differ. Who wants to do the honors?
You guys go first.
Heath.
Transistor is the only Supergiant game that I've played, and it's almost the best Supergiant game until Pyre existed, and then Hades existed. Because as we all know, the Supergiant games, they're like cicadas. They come every 10 years to have the best game of the year. They did so in 2014 with Transistor, and they're gonna do so this year with Hades 2.
Which is out in early access form.
What?
Yeah, you can just straight up download Hades 2 on Steam right now.
Why aren't you playing it right this second?
Because it's in early access. I'm waiting for version 1.0 to drop.
Right. Because then all the boons will be even boonier.
I'm shocked. Heath, Transistor is the game you love to forget about. You remembered it.
Well, I can't in good conscience say that PT was the game of that year. Because it's hard. PT's a museum exhibit.
Right.
And then what else came out in 2014? Dark Souls 2? I don't play Dark Souls.
Sure.
If somebody said that Dark Souls 2 was that game's game of the year, I wouldn't smack them.
2014 is a kind of a well-known punching bag for being a relatively weak year for game releases.
They had Mario Kart 8, Bayonetta 2.
The Wii U was popping off that year, and no one noticed because no one owned one.
Yeah.
I had one.
Yeah.
Look at you, the contrarian.
Yikes.
Hey, Heath, we're aligned here. I also awarded Transistor my game of the year in 2014.
Well, then I'm going to be... Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Samantha.
I'm going to be the odd one out.
Did you say The Sims 4?
I love Transistor. I would have picked it had Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair had not been released for America that year. And therefore it wins my GOTY.
Wow. What? That's the best Dangan?
Yes, in my opinion.
You're agreeing with Janice in that way.
I would say that's actually like the popular opinion. I think Danganronpa V3 is the best made game and it's the most fleshed out. But 2 has the best story and conclusion, and I like a lot of the characters.
Is 2 known to be in the community the favorite cast?
How very Mass Effectian of Dangan.
Oh, Mass Effect 2 is the fan favorite.
Yes. I don't know, actually, who has the best rated cast. It's probably V3 for cast, just because you get to know them better. You know, it's not really fair.
Longer runtime. So, but 2 is the best liked game among the fans. But I support your Transistor votes. I think that's Transistor it's immaculate. It's just hard to have issues playing with it. It's so well executed on every level. The soundtrack's amazing. The gameplay is novel. The story is unique and subversive in some ways, and it just doesn't overstay its welcome. Its New Game Plus is interesting in that it actually, since you get duplicates of all the powers, it adds whole new combinations you could not construct in an initial playthrough.
I played it on my first time playing it. I played through immediately again, and it felt like a New Game Plus.
Right.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
It puts the new in New Game Plus.
It sure does.
If you held a gun to my head and asked me to recite each of the names of each of those functions, I maybe thump is one.
One is sprint.
Bounce is one.
Bounce.
So, 2014, not the best year, but we all have our favorites from it regardless.
Moving on. Let's go.
So moving on.
2015.
What was your game of the year, Heath?
I mean, Witcher 3 is in this year.
That's not your game of the year.
No, it's not mine.
We're asking for yours.
We know what Chris is going to pick.
Don't worry, there's going to be Witcher 3 representation at this table.
Sure, okay. Well, then can I give it to Undertale?
Of course you can.
I'll give it to Undertale.
Undertale.
Because Undertale.
Debut 2015.
Yeah.
No one argues.
It's one of the best Toby Fox games. Friggin' Deltarune can't come out soon enough.
Honestly. Before you say anything, Chris, I will just go ahead and say I also gave it to Undertale.
Yay!
What a game. I haven't played The Witcher 3, so no comment.
Because Until Dawn is great, but there's another U-based game that came out that year.
It was the best one.
I thought there was a chance you might have awarded it to Fallout 4, Heath.
I've certainly put enough hours into Fallout 4, and it's certainly my favorite base building first-person shooter RPG of that year. I got him. But I mean, I like. There's nothing Fallout 4 does that makes it. Fallout 4 is it's easy to listen to. It's the radio station that doesn't take any risks. Undertale takes risks.
And I remember there was some discourse that year where some people feel like Witcher 3, my game of the year of 2015, kind of showed up on the scene.
You mean Wild Hunt?
and outdid Bethesda at their own open world game.
No, I'd much rather play Fallout 4 than play Witcher 3.
Wow.
I'd much rather do that.
Well, they do have very different
the
strengths.
music is better.
I don't know about that.
The plot's not as good.
Definitely not.
No.
No, Witcher 3 had the breadth and the depth that few games can rival. I don't need to say more. I've glazed up The Witcher 3 for the entire run of this podcast.
I'll find out more about it when I play it.
Yeah, that'll give me the excuse I really need to talk more about it.
Yeah.
But Witcher 3 is my game of the year, 2015.
Surprising, no one.
Did you have any more thoughts on Undertale before we move to the next year, Samantha?
Deltarune wins Game of the Year or I riot. Whenever it's done in 10 more years.
Yeah, it's got.
Oh, so context. I looked at the actual game awards for all of the years we're talking about today, and just like in my personal biases, just whoever's running the game awards is doing a bad job.
Ooh,
that's what I would say. Like whoever's voting,
shots.
Jeff Keighley did nothing wrong.
Like the nominations, you're saying?
I'm saying like the nominations and like the winners. I'm just like looking at this shit. Like who did this? Why?
Samantha throws some shade at games media.
You liked It Takes Two.
Of course.
It won.
You're saying one time. Maybe they got it right. I don't know what It Takes Two is nominated against, but yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, why?
Fair enough. That is not a uncommon opinion, Samantha.
Yeah, I'm right.
Moving on to 2016.
Oh,
Heath, what do you have for us?
Inside.
Yeah, there's a classic Heath pick.
I mean, it's better than Dark Souls 3.
That's by Playdead, right?
It's better than Doom.
Where have they been the past 8 years?
Dead. I don't know.
I wouldn't want to be the studio that needs to follow up on Inside and top it.
Aren't they like Icelandic? They're Danish. Yeah, they just fell into the sea.
I remember you were playing Inside pretty much right at launch.
Let me tell you about Inside. I had a ball.
That was a good one, Heath.
What kind of joke was it?
Inside joke. That was for the players.
Woo!
Great game. For me, 2016, not a big shock. It's Dishonored 2. It's my favorite arcane game.
Anton Corvo is back.
It's just got the best levels in the business.
I meant to say Corvo Atano.
It's just peak arcane, if you ask me. It has so much replayability with 2 characters, with 2 power sets.
Oh, yeah.
very different ways to approach the levels.
blink with both eyes.
I love it so much. And you, Samantha?
So with the caveat that I'm only picking games I've actually played, I probably would pick Dishonored 2.
Wow.
Had I gotten there yet.
I'm
Because I
getting
love
I'm getting
Dishonored.
a vote that I didn't even earn.
But I can't pick it because I haven't played it. So I picked Stardew Valley.
Oh, you didn't get Persona?
Persona did not come out.
Persona
this year.
5.
It did come out in Japan only that year.
So I don't speak Japanese.
All right.
Not
I
for
do.
me.
Stardew Valley.
Damn.
I remember that released. It was an early in the year sleeper hit. Kind of came out of nowhere.
I mean, I've put
Sleeper Citizen.
hundreds of hours into that game. I like it quite a bit. It's a cool farming simulator. You can mess with the efficiency. I think the characters are fun to get to know. And yeah, of course, I like that you can romance the characters. I'm a girl.
And
That's what I
Stardew?
play games for. Yeah, you get a husband or wife.
Can you make woohoo?
You can make a kid, so the implication is there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Your kids are so annoying though. Don't have them.
Are they a hindrance on your farm economy?
They're a hindrance on your personal efficiency.
Oh.
So I just don't have them. In case listeners are curious, obviously the correct answer for if you're looking for a male spouse is Shane, because I can fix him.
Then I hear Abigail.
I'm at a loss.
Abigail's very popular as from a.
Abigail, if you're
Damn.
like into edgy girls, or you could go Penny if you want to rescue her.
Is this Three Houses? What are these names? You guys have
Well,
favorites.
Of course.
I thought this was Minecraft.
Oh, I mean, there's some plot
There's
in
no
Stardew Valley.
Terraria names.
It's you got plot, you got characters, and you got interesting mysteries to solve.
What more could you ask for?
Yeah,
Alright.
there's more to it than you think, I guess. I like it. Yeah. Dishonored 2 probably beats it though. So
All right, that brings us to 2017.
Wait, what did we choose was the game of the year?
What do you
we're
mean?
just all individually picking. There's no vote.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a bracket at some point.
Oh, you thought it was a competition.
I thought we were trying to defend Your Honor.
2017, full of
2017.
heavy hitters. I could not place what you would pick for 2017, Heath.
I mean, I didn't play Nier, so I got to give it to Breath of the Wild.
You did play Breath of the Wild.
I touched it. I've only played a teensy bit of Prey.
I know you didn't make it deep into Breath of the Wild. Was there anything else you were considering, or was it a lock?
Well, I'm not gonna give it to Cuphead. I'm not gonna give it to What Remains of Edith Finch. All that leaves is Hellblade Senua's.
Right, that was
I
2017.
liked Hellblade Senua's. Do I give it to Hellblade Senua's for Game of the Year? Whoa. I'm
Little
in
bit of a
Hellblade Senua's.
Dark horse contender.
All right, maybe I'll give it to her. But now, Breath of the Wild is just, it's on another tier. Surely.
A whole other plateau.
Oh, he did it.
All right, for 2017, really hard to pick. It's just like chock full of my favorite games of all time, all in that one year. What were developers on back then?
Oh, yeah, that is your favorite year.
But if I had to choose one, I'm going to give it to Nier Automata. It was my introduction to Yoko Taro games. I think it has the best soundtrack in all of gaming, although Mobius Tubes as a collective disagrees.
Got him.
I just, the plot goes in so many different directions I never would have anticipated. And it has my favorite ending of a piece of media. And if I had to attribute bettering myself as a person for playing a particular game, I would levy that praise on Nier Automata more so than any other.
It changed your ethical makeup?
I think it made me more empathetic.
Wow. I gotta play this game,
Holy
man.
crap. Yeah.
It's a banger. Anyway, what was your game of the year in 2017,
Okay,
Samantha?
Platforms
well, obviously I want to give it to Breath of the Wild because, as Heath said, it's on a tier by itself. It's amazing. It's the game. If I was banned from Breath of the Wild for some reason, like it
Which you're
did,
not.
it did win the GOTY, so it feels like I'm levying praise where it's not needed.
You're like, Jeff Keighley got it right this one time.
He got it right this one time because, I mean, come on, how could he miss that? I liked Prey quite a bit. I might have thrown it to Prey. I would have given Prey a nomination. I also, Danganronpa V3 came out that year.
Right? Yakuza 0 came out that year.
Yakuza 0. There's so many games that year.
Kiwami 2.
Kiwami 2. That's the point where they started releasing multiple Yakuza games per year. And I'm like, how am I supposed to keep up? It's crazy.
You just only play Yakuza games, of course.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah. But yeah, I gotta give it to Breath of the Wild. But I'll say Prey in the way that Heath says Hellblade.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, two Breath of the Wilds and a Nier for 2017. On to 2018. Samantha's laughing. That'll be fun.
So many of these years, I was like, wow, I can tell I haven't played any of the hard hitters from this year. I guess I'll just pick what I have played.
That makes this exercise fun, though.
It's so fun.
Weird dark horses bubble up to the surface.
No.
It sure does.
Heath is facing a hard dilemma, it seems.
I have to decide between Return of the Obra Dinn and Into the Breach.
Oh. Here I thought Heath was going to maybe
say Red Dead Redemption 2?
Maybe say that.
I mean, you can say that.
Let me go first and make your choice easier
Right.
because I necessarily pick Return of the Obra Dinn. Great game. I loved it.
You're saying
I
it
think
won almost by default for you?
I feel like I will enjoy it Into the Breach maybe more because I'm a big strategy girl, but I like a good mystery. So I could see potential winners like out the side of my eye looking at this list.
I just want to make sure Subnautica was considered.
Subnautica was considered, and I was like, I love Subnautica. The mystery is better in Return of the Obra Dinn because, of course, it is.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, is the one and done mystery surpass the unlimited replayability of a game like Subnautica and Into the Breach?
Return of the Obra Dinn's a unique experience you're not going to find elsewhere.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
if they
gotta
made
get ups.
if they made Obra Dinns annually at the same level of quality,
I would be the happiest camper.
I'd never play Into the Breach. That's not true, surely. Chris, go. I need help.
All right,
He's struggling.
I'll buy you some time, Heath. So I think 2018. It sounds like
Oh, you're gonna give it to Spyro?
whoa, the Spyro Reignited trilogy.
He's doing it.
I'm not doing that.
Boo.
I just wanted to, for all the listeners silently screaming, how contrarian we're being, because for the mainstream, this is the year where it's
God of War.
It's God of War versus Red Dead Redemption 2, and it sounds like none of us are saying either of those games. Because for me, I give it to Into the Breach. It's just the decisions I'm faced with in this little itty bitty 8x8 grids, bite-sized tactics games. They send me up the wall. How I'll be looking at a board state and I just have like these 3 little mechs and there's like 4 bugs I have to deal with. And when I'm in the end game, I'll sit on a single turn for 30 minutes on the final boss and I'll just like contemplate the entire matrix of decisions at my disposal and trying to mitigate as much building damage as possible. It was insane how finely balanced on a knife edge I found the game's difficulty to be, where you would be presented with the situation at the start of any turn and you're like, oh man, it's hopeless, I'm done. But if you just stare at it for long enough, you concoct these amazing threading the needle schemes and find some way to have salvation for just one more turn. And then the cycle begins anew when the new turn begins and you're like, oh, I'm boned again, until you find your escape hatch. It's amazing.
I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, Chris wins.
Chris wins.
2018's Game of the Year was Into the Breach.
That's fine.
Return of the Obra Dinn is the best. Is so good. Yeah, I can't. I'm being a bad podcast host.
He's clearly torn. It's too beloved.
You're not going to hurt my feelings because I can't pick Into the Breach.
I think it would have gone to. Here's the most interesting conversation to have. I think it would have been awarded to Obra Dinn had maybe like identifying the top men would have been more thought out, and if after you close the book there was an epilogue. I know I was given a feast, and I still want more. But I think if Obra Dinn could have beaten Into the Breach if the freeze frame muzzle smoke trail tracing identity, if each of the and find out the very last one that you find out, if they were all on that tier of identifying who is who. Because some of the top men was just like, oh yeah, he's there and he's there. Okay, it's got to be those guys. I think that would have beaten Into the Breach.
You're like, sometimes the mystery wasn't excruciatingly hard.
Not excruciating. I mean, the guns weren't excruciatingly hard.
No, those ones were good. You felt good about solving them, but they weren't super hard. The last one you solved felt like it was.
You need 300 IQ. Yes.
Lucas Pope was spitting in my face,
yes,
and he was correct to do so.
Yeah. And okay. I think. I mean, the violinist getting choked out was funny, right? But I don't know. Maybe like of the 45 or 60 identities, maybe if he improved like 12 of them, it would be Into the Breach.
I would still like him to make Return of the Obra Dinn returns harder, and it's just the second one.
Yes,
I'd take it.
Take a page out of Matrix movie titles. This book, Return of the Obra Dinn, Retribution. Yeah. 2019. We have to move on.
All right.
Yes.
There's no
on
time.
to 2019. Heath, is this an easier choice for you?
No. No, because it's disco versus death.
Is it?
Isn't it?
I think you're omitting a key piece of information.
What, Control? What happened? What other game came out of the year?
And just for the listener's sake, you're saying you were
Outer Wilds.
You were weighing Disco Elysium and Death Stranding.
I was. When the hell did it come out? Did it come out this year?
Outer
Chris.
Wilds came out in May of 2019.
Yeah,
Chris.
it goes to Outer Wilds. Easy peasy.
We saved you from a hard-fought decision.
Woo! Okay.
Wait, but I haven't played Outer Wilds.
All done.
Before we move on, I'll say my game of the year in 2019 is also Outer Wilds.
Yeah.
If Nier Automata is the game that arguably made me a better person, then Outer Wilds is the game I most want people to see that this game exists and humans designed this game. I just want people to realize what we as a species have concocted here and designed.
Yeah.
And that's why my pick is Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
Hey, that's my runner-up.
Yeah.
I love that
Claude.
game. I played every route. I put like near 400 hours into that game. It's one of my all-time favorites. Great game. Loved it.
That's another game that has a very beneficial New Game Plus feature.
Yes. Oh, for sure, for sure.
What, do you do another year of school?
It enables you to actually survive the excruciatingly difficult level difficulties. Maddening, I think, is the highest.
It lets you can really cut down your playtime in future playthroughs.
You can like spend a currency to carry over skills. It keeps your professor level, so you teach just as good. And then you can spend currency to maintain skills for students, or you can like maintain friendship levels. So like recruiting them is easier if you want to keep them. You can also give people like special powers. But again, this is all like a currency you spend, so it's limited. You can't just like keep all of your progress. You have to like be selective.
Someday I should replay that game and do one of the more interesting routes.
Yeah.
But even only having seen Golden Deer, I would make it my runner-up for 2019.
And anyone knows that the Black Eagles route is the best one.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Edelgard, ride or die.
Sick.
All I know is Claude.
She's a pretty lady.
Okay. Has Fire Emblem produced a non-pretty lady?
Yeah, Samantha, can you point to who on the cast wouldn't be a pretty lady?
Bernadetta.
She's kind of cute.
Oh, let me do it.
I'm just being mean. She's cute. I'm just punching down.
Oh, she's like an 8.
That means she's a Wisconsin 10, right?
I'm just so lucky. I pray that some Wisconsinite writes in. That's so funny.
All right,
We have to move on.
2020.
2020.
Woo!
Into this decade. Heath, what have you got for me?
Some might even say the worst year of the 20s so far. What did I say?
Or do you need time to finalize?
I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake came
You
out
didn't
this
play
year.
that.
No, but I don't play half of these games.
You played
this is
Animal
your
Crossing New
game of the
Horizons.
year.
I sure did.
He's like, I don't want to give it to them.
What did I propose might be Heath's 2020 game of the year?
I said
Bugsnax.
Animal Crossing New Horizons.
For yours?
No.
Oh,
for
for your
my
guess.
guess for Heath. Yeah. And you were just like, he's not going to pick that, and provided no counter.
Oh, you know what? Not that we need to go relitigate this.
How about
20, for 2018, Heath, you didn't nominate Frostpunk as yours.
What did I give it to instead?
Into the Breach.
Ooh. And that narrowly beat it out. Return to the Overton. Maybe because Frostpunk 2 is so just barely within my grasp that I'm like Woody in Toy Story, or no, Andy in Toy Story. I don't want to play with you anymore. Drops Frostpunk.
That's funny.
Gosh, Frostpunk. I can't linger on this. Oh no.
That seems like a linger to me.
Hey, Chris, what was your 2020 best game?
Oh, I need to make sure Heath is sorted first.
So what? He doesn't cheat off your answers?
No, I do give it to Frostpunk.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let it be known, Into the Breach. Heath, friendship with Into the Breach ended. I am now friends with Frostpunk.
Yeah, just push him into the ocean and watch him die. Yeah, that's right.
Looking over things you've played in 2020, Heath, is there a chance your game of the year for 2020 is 13 Sentinels?
Oh, that came out this year?
It did.
Sure, yeah.
It's better than New Horizons.
Because I'm not allowed to give it to what's clearly the best game of that year.
We're all abiding by the rules that these are our personal game of the years. I did not award anything to have something I haven't played.
Yeah, but I want to have the right opinion.
You can caveat it with what you think your game of the year would be had you played it.
Like I did that one time? Like I did for the top 10, top 100 games of all time?
Because
That would probably be Half-Life Alyx.
Okay. The world's most impressive VR game.
Don't you reckon?
That's a pretty legit pick. I didn't consider that.
Would be Genshin Impact.
It would not be. No.
Proceed.
Okay. In the more recent years, here's where Chris starts to introduce some caveats because I haven't quite knocked out my backlogs on these years. So the best game I played from 2020 is Persona 5 Royal. That would be my game of the year. It was the most emotionally impactful. It was already like my favorite JRPG, and they made it even better with that pristine third semester and just quality of life improvements through the roof. How could I not love it? I do feel a little weird making my 2020 game of the year a game that is 90% re-release. Because it's mostly just Persona 5 again, and I loved it. So if I was going to name my 2020 wholly original game of the year, it would be Hades, my favorite Supergiant game, which I played for over 100 hours. It's not only is my favorite Supergiant game.
What happened to Pyre?
I mean, Pyre's great.
Pyre was your favorite prior.
I would have probably given it to Transistor.
Damn, you talk about Pyre way too much.
I do because it's proportionately underrepresented by how good it is.
Oh, that's true.
It died in the deluge of good 2017 games.
Died of the deluge.
But no, Hades not only is it my favorite Supergiant game, it's my favorite roguelike game in general. Perfect marriage of excellent, repeatable mechanics and an actual story I cared about. It's excellent. And now if that wasn't enough caveats for 2020, there's one more big elephant in the room, and that is I highly suspect Cyberpunk 2077 might actually be my 2020 game of the year, but I haven't played it. So I cannot say for sure. But between its redemption arc and Phantom Liberty, it certainly sounds like I'm going to be over the moon in love with it.
Well, then I'll go ahead and say I also picked Persona 5 Royal.
Hey!
But I will also caveat it with the other 2020 game I played and liked, because I haven't played Hades. I'm going to play it. I'm going to love it. It's going to be great. But Paper Mario The Origami King came out that year, and I liked that game quite a bit. The Paper Mario franchise prior to this game had sort of a rough go of it. Color Splash was not well received. And I think Origami King was them kind of trying to get back on the right track and redeem themselves a bit. I think the combat is fantastic. It's really unique. And I liked the characters. I thought they were fun. I got emotionally attached to some of them, and that proved to be challenging. So, great, fun game. Would recommend if you're into like light RPG style stuff. But obviously, Persona 5 Royal knocks it out of the park.
So you're the same as me, where Persona 5 Royal is your game of the year, unless that's disqualified, and then it's Origami King.
Unless Jeff Keighley says I can't, but then I'm just going to call him a hypocrite.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Heath's was
Animal Crossing New Horizons.
anything to say about it? How it served you during those pandemic months?
Yes, surely. I teared up at one point when I was on the dock and I couldn't go outside.
Excellent.
We got to move on. 2021.
We're getting there. All right, 2021. Samantha, what if we started with you this time?
No. Oh no. This is a rough year
What's
for
your
me.
game of the year in 2021?
So I'm torn between two, Inscryption or The Forgotten City.
Ooh.
Oh, those are Samantha
Heck.
games.
Oh, yeah. Forgotten City.
And my hope is that Heath will pick Inscryption and give it its flowers.
Heath, is there any chance you're going to pick Inscryption? No, don't tell her. Make her
Freeing
choose.
to pick Forgotten City. Oh God.
Make her choose.
Well, Inscryption's the better made game. You can tell there was like more to it, but Forgotten City is set in ancient Rome. And it has other ancient cultures, and that's kind of my thing. So I gotta give it to Forgotten City.
To go with the heart.
The heart wants what it wants, and all I want to do is go look. I want to fly to Greece and look at all that old stuff they got there. So.
And that has a really cool plot in that game.
Oh yeah, the plot was amazing. Chris, remember when we were playing that together? We literally like couldn't put it down.
Remember when we played it all day, then we went to dinner. Came back and you were like, hey, what if we played?
You were like, you turned to me as you were putting your coat away and you're like, what do you want to do? And I was like, what do you want to do? And you're like, we could play more Forgotten City. And I was like, took the words out of my mouth. Sit down. It was great. Great game. Loved it.
Who was driving that time?
I was
Chris
driving.
always drives.
How many attempts did it take for you to zip line onto the thing?
After I heard how many attempts it took you, I know for a fact it took me more attempts.
All right, that's all I needed to hear. Chris, I mean, I'm gonna do the same thing that you did for 2020. My game of the year was gonna be Mass Effect Legendary Edition, but if I can't do that because it's not wholly original,
I thought that was cheating because it's not. It's none of it's original.
3 games.
Yeah, I would have picked it, but it's just all re-released.
Also, it's got that VTOL mission that cost me my life.
That's the Hammerhead.
Hated
mission from
that.
Mass Effect 2.
I agree.
Horrible.
The Hammerhead missions, those are the only parts of Mass Effect I skipped.
Checkpoint sections are broken.
I don't know, guys. I had fun doing them.
Whatever.
I give it to
Shut your
Inscryption.
mouth.
This is the freaking Arkham Knight demolition derby lover.
I know. What's wrong with you?
Just wants to bonk some heavy
it's
Just
so-
play.
vehicles.
Oh God, what's the Rocket League?
Rocket
Just go play
League?
Rocket
Just play
League, you
Rocket
weirdo.
League.
I'm put in my Rocket League corner.
Let's bully Chris off this podcast.
Yeah, what's your favorite game of the year?
Did
bitch?
you wanted to talk up Inscryption anymore?
I mean, we've talked a lot this episode already. I would love Inscryption more if they just fix the music. It's just it suffers from Disco Elysium overworld.
And if you could reboot it back to its virgin state.
I would have saved like whatever how much it costs, like $25.
Right.
But you can't.
But you cannot apparently.
Unless it's like a just brand new copy. I've tested it.
Okay. I'm sure you've looked into it.
He does not believe me.
I'm sure you've looked into it more than 99% of people, Heath. My 2021 game of the year is Deathloop.
Yeah.
Another Arcane game. No, it's really good. It felt like kind of the greatest hits of Arcane games. Taking a little bit of Masquerade Ball from Dishonored 1, plopping it in there. Taking a little bit of Prey Moon Crash Cycles, plopping it in there. It was so good. While it borrows a lot from the other games in the Arcane catalog, I don't think it really exceeded any of the others, but it was a very fun romp. It was maybe the most joyous time I had in an Arcane game as far as like...
More than Dishonored?
By joy, I mean like quick and breezy fun.
Okay.
Where I think other games maybe have more interesting aspects to them. But we can move on now to 2022.
I want to go first because I want to say I almost had to pick by default Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga.
Oh, you played Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga?
My sister and I love the Lego Star Wars games.
Do the Yoda death sound effect for me real fast.
Like the...
No, isn't it more like...
Yes, that's it. That's gotta be it. You're so good. My favorite thing to do in those games is because we play together. Is I will play as Yoda and then refuse to run because he moves at like a snail's pace and drives her up the wall. Because I'm just like walking slowly through the levels as she's trying to progress. Chris is looking at me like, God, why would you ever do that to someone?
I'm here. I don't want to accuse you of forgetting things, Samantha. You're entitled to your Lego.
No. I'm not picking it because I realized I have played other games, and one of those games was The Case of the Golden Idol.
Oh.
And that is a better game.
Oh, wait. So you just blue-balled us.
What should I have picked?
You told us all about Lego Skywalker Saga, and that's not even your game of the year?
Yeah, I said I almost thought I had to pick it by default.
No, she was just heightening the drama.
Heightening the drama.
I see. I missed some important setup.
She's a producer.
Which game were you picking for me?
No, proceed. You're doing it all right.
Oh, okay. Case of the Golden Idol, fun mystery. If you can't tell, I do enjoy mysteries from this list. And I can't wait for Case of the Golden Idol 2 to drop. That's not what it's called this year.
Oh, the Rise of the Golden Idol.
Rise of the Golden Idol coming out
forgot
this
about
year.
that.
Yeah, you always say that, but we're going to play it. It's going to be great.
Heath, do you have a 2022 game of the year?
My 2022 games in order of playtime goes Marvel Snap, Disney Dreamlight Valley, maybe Stray, and then Case of Golden. And I'm going to give it to Case of Golden for the same reasons that Samantha listed.
It had more fun per hour than any other game.
Yeah, I guess what's my favorite part of Case of Golden? It's just like it's the identities. Yeah.
All right, for my 2022 game of the year, I'll say it's on.
Don't say it's Bayonetta 3.
It's on somewhat shaky ground considering games I haven't played like Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok. But for now, at least today, my game of the year in 2022 is Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Woo!
A game I spent way more time with than I ever thought I would, but it was from the XCOM developers. XCOM does their take on strategic card play with Marvel characters, and I talked about it a lot early this year. And it was so much deeper than I had any right to be. Big card pools for every character, and they all played very differently. It was the strategy game that maybe most reminded me of Into the Breach since Into the Breach. Just how you had to eke out so much efficiency with each card play and have it like accomplish at least two different things, whether it's the strategic positioning aspect of the game where you're knocking enemies around like billiard balls.
Oh my God, yeah. knocking them around. It's if you could close your eyes, it sounds almost like Balatro, the way it's just like bing 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 bing.
So true. So yeah, Marvel's Midnight Suns, a game that deserves more credit than it gets. Moving on.
2023.
2023. I can start. I've played 2 games in 2023. So this is not my game of the year, but it is for now. It's Dave the Diver.
You only picked that because Heath said Slay the Princess was a 3 out of 5.
No, I came in my heart of hearts. Dave the Diver was better than Slay the Princess.
It would have been a 4 if the art style was
not webtoon.
A little better and not webtoon.
I'm not going to really speak on Dave the Diver because it's not deserving of the win here.
I know what mine is.
If I play more of these games, I think I will likely land on either Alan Wake 2 being my game of the year or Baldur's Gate 3. But for now, I do not know.
Heath, what was your game of the year?
Well, okay. If we play by the rules, it's Dredge.
Yeah,
hey.
But if we play by the not rules, it's either like the Dead Space remake.
Oh.
Which I watched so much of it. It looks so good. Or Chance of Sonar.
Right.
I so want to play Chance of Sonar. I forgot that existed. But it's Dredge.
All right. Are you happy to give it to Dredge? Or
I'm happy to give it to Dredge. I enjoyed Dredge so much until the very end. It ended so abruptly, and I wish it just had more islands and that the mid game was fleshed out. I went from 0 to 100. I went from like just putting around, barely collecting all the resources to get like a teensy faster engine. And then suddenly my fishing prowess exploded so much so that I bypassed all the mid-tier stuff and just went to the Rolls Royce of motorboat. So I just wish that I wasn't so good.
You weren't able to stop and smell the fish.
Yeah, I unlocked like the god tier rod, and I never even got to use like the volcanic oceanic one. It should have been paced better.
So
that's Dredge.
Heath and I both choosing aquatic games as our 2023 game of the year. What about you, Samantha?
So I actually played like a cool game in 2023 that people
not
like,
a nerd game.
Media attention, because I played Tears of the Kingdom. Words never spoken on this podcast.
I'm not familiar. Could you tell me more?
That's got that green hat, green uniform character Zelda.
Yeah, that's the game. You got it in one.
This from an indie developer I haven't heard of, Nintendo?
Yeah, they used to make those card games.
Who is this Shigeru?
Yeah, they made the Virtual Boy.
This is from a company that makes tarot cards?
You guys are putting me in
Hanafuna cards.
In pain here. When
what
you
a weird
play
pick.
it,
She's gonna hit us with a Sheikah slate.
Do you want me? I'm gonna start spoiling shit if you guys don't calm down.
We know the story.
The story's not the.
He's even.
I don't know the story.
He's even more calamitous Ganon.
He's even more calamitous Ganon. The interesting new mechanics they brought into the game improved upon Breath of the Wild, a task many thought impossible.
Wait, what do you mean you know nothing?
I don't know the story.
Okay, but you know that you can like stop time is your new ability.
I know you can.
You could stop
dive
time in
through
Breath
the
of the
ceiling.
What am I trying to think of? Oh yeah, you glorp through solid objects in this one.
That's so fun. Man, this game, when it came out, I pre-ordered it, of course.
Are you good at Breath of the Wild?
I pre-ordered it too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Can you chop the tree down and then go doink, 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 doink and climb onto it just as the stop time releases and launch yourself?
I never got into the physics breaking stuff I saw people do on Breath of the Wild. Yeah. It's not physics breaking. It's
and then the car making in Take.
Oh god, the stuff I saw people make in Tears of the Kingdom,
full on blimps.
Incredible. Yeah, the game really just lets you do whatever you want. I made a monster truck.
Okay, yeah.
And that was like one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Yeah, great game. Can't wait for someone to like buy it and play it. But he's stubbornly insisting that the Switch 2 is going to come out and it's going to have a 5% better graphics.
It's going to run better on the Switch 2.
It's going to run better on the Switch 2, he swears. So yeah, great game. It was nominated, but I think fairly lost to Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
For the actual GOTY.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyways, 2024.
Do we even do 2024?
Yeah, we got to do it.
Are we all three aligned on this?
Yeah, because...
I was going to say a joke answer, but we can just say the real one if we want.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Balatro.
We're all Balatro sickos on this podcast.
Only because Chris won't let me pick Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door.
It's a re-release.
It was so good.
From 2004.
I didn't play it on the GameCube. It was new to me.
I mean, it was new to me too.
Yeah. Okay.
Balatro wins by default for me. That's the only 2024 game I've played.
I was gonna say Endless Ocean Luminous because I knew you were gonna pick Balatro.
Yeah.
Just get you.
So, exercise complete. Thanks for humoring me on that one, everyone. I thought it was a fun time.
Yeah. Cool.
I did think it was funny. We had to retcon Into the Breach losing its GOTY status from Heath.
We did. 2017 is still the best year for video games in your lifetime, right?
I would say so.
I would agree.
No 2020 year has been a 2017.
2023 came close.
It did.
I should maybe play more 2023 games before I say that definitively, but...
Yeah.
But we should close out this podcast. Do you think our next episode will be wedding recorded, Heath, or is that plan been scrapped?
Folks, we will be joining you in New Jersey. I'm doxing it a little. We're going to be taking the show on the road and recording with our good friend J-Dog on the road. So join us for that.
In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, send us that illiteracy-based hate mail at mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
That's mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
We will read all emails. We pride ourselves on that. Answer them one by one. Any closing thoughts, Samantha?
Thanks for continuing to have me on the podcast. Heath, I hope you enjoy Frostpunk 2.
Yeah, that'll be out the next time.
On the
It
horizon.
will? Oh, I'll have a game to talk about?
It comes out on the 20th, right? We're 11 days out.
Thank goodness.
Maybe I just won't come then.
Just the boys.
You'll miss out on me just squish.
Yeah.
Just I'm covered in oil.
Heath and I will just be oiling each other up.
I'll be at
More
the
than
wedding
usual.
anyway. I might as well be there.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for recording, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.